Okay, friends, we are back with part two about Medtelligent values and how the fear of failure or our relationship with failure can hold us back when we're trying to execute on the company's values. So why do we procrastinate doing things? Why do we use our past experiences to justify not taking action in the present moment? And why do we use facts in our own brain to piece them together in a way that justifies us not acting on things? Why is that the case? I'll tell you, it usually comes down to fear, some sort of fear about how you're perceived, about how you could be perceived, about what other people think about you, and ultimately being scared to fail or scared of putting yourself out there. It could be being a fear of looking stupid, like they're gonna realize I don't know what HL7 means if I get on this call and try to talk through this problem, right? So I'm gonna just wait and not email and see if it pops up again, right? Versus, I don't know what this means. I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going to go into it head first and see what I can figure out. Or I'm going to ask someone. It could be a fear of being criticized that, hey, that's a terrible idea, right? Now, that's never a great thing to hear for sure, but you have to weigh whether kind of learning these things are good ideas and having these discussions kind of outweighs that fear of being criticized or being wrong. All of these things could happen when you put yourself out there, for sure. When you try to do the right thing, when you try to be honest, when you try to come up with creative solutions, they're not all going to be right. And that's okay. That's why we're together. That's why we iterate. That's why we try these things with each other. But if you don't try, you not only prevent your learning, you completely hinder it. You stop it in its tracks, right? And the evolution that could happen with trying something and maybe failing. Each negative reaction that you get is a blip on the radar of life, but what you learn stays forever. And the fear of these things prevents progress for not only yourself, but the company, right? When you're afraid to get on that call for some reason, for fear of looking stupid, or you're afraid to pipe up in a meeting because you might sound stupid, it creates the truth. Because if you weren't scared, or if you shared your fear, it gives people the opportunity to work on that or figure out why. Is it the way people are talking to each other? Is it the way the discussions are moderated? It doesn't give anyone an opportunity to improve or evolve if these things aren't brought to the surface and just said, hey, I'm scared about this. I am scared to look stupid. Help me work through it, right? That's the second part, is back to, I forget which vlog it was about the pillars, but just voicing that that is your thing is only half the battle. You have to say, this is my thing, but you know what? I want to evolve. I want to learn. Help me figure out how I can get over this, right? I found this quote, I forget who it was from, but it said, a positive mind finds a way it can be done. A negative mind looked for all of the ways it can't be done. And that is near and dear to my heart and near and dear to the company's values, that we care. We find ways to say yes, not no. We solve problems and that we're creative. So if you find yourself dictating all the ways that it could go wrong, it should be linked very specifically to also a solution, just like with the pillars. Don't just complain, propose something, right? And how, from a larger perspective, can we overcome this fear of failure or our relationship with failure hindering our ability to execute on the Medtelligent values? I have three recommendations for us today. The first is to be aware that you do it. Be aware that you're scared to fail or scared to look stupid, and at least know that about yourself, that it's prohibiting you from taking chances or putting yourself out there, or it causes your first reaction to be like, no, they're not going to like this. This isn't going to be good. This isn't going to go over well, right? And if you know that, then at least you can be like, okay, wait, I'm doing that thing again, right? So be aware, number one. Number two, you're gonna love this because it's like in all the vlogs, but write it down. Write down what your goal is, what your thoughts are, what your notes are, and why you feel that way. Where did it come from? Where did it start? What are you ultimately afraid of? It's different when you write it down in black and white. and you start learning because it's out of your head. If it's in your head, if it's out of your head, at least it lives and exists and breathes in the world. So this not only offers for your fears about doing something, but I recommend this also as the first step to overcoming that fear of failure. Because if you just document something, you write down, here's my plan. Yeah, I only have 3 bullet points, but you get it out of your head versus like, I can't write this down until I have every single detail filled out. It is so all consuming. So get all these thoughts out of your head, write them down, and then other people can help you, and it grows and grows and grows and grows, and people grow and grow and grow, and the company grows and grows and grows and benefits. So get all of these thoughts out of your head, write them down. Right? And then the third is ask for help. Have a positive outlook buddy that you go to, and be grateful if you have someone that's like this, that has a positive outlook, not resentful, because asking for a different perspective is helpful, and you can, share that you realized you backed yourself in a corner. Look, I am so mad because XYZ, and this happens all the time, and I need help to see clearly kind of how to deal with this. That is completely fine and healthy, and at least you're asking for help, that you've gotten into this negative cycle and you need help seeing kind of a positive outlook of it, or how many times you need to try, or whatever the situation is. But find someone around you that's positive and lean on them in these scenarios. Now, a lot of times lizard brain will want to find other people that are negative in these scenarios. I do not recommend going to your negative friend, because what they will do is say, you're totally right, that person's terrible, that client is mean, and you're 100% right. Which, while it may feel good for a second, ultimately, where are you going with that? You're just like sopping in a mess of disappointment and discontent and anger, versus what can I do to get better at this? Regardless of the person that's trying to bring me down, what can I do to be better? What can I do to be more, right? My final thoughts on this are just, if we all acknowledge with humility that we cannot predict the future, then at least we'll always kind of be on the same page of we're predicting, we're speculating. Some people may have more insider knowledge of what's going to happen than others, and that's important to kind of acknowledge during these conversations as well. But you might say, TC, then why does it seem like you're always saying that you're most often right? And I will tell you, very controversially, but I believe with this scenario and with everything in life, where there is a will, there is a way. And what happens is, most of the time, I just have the most strength for getting knocked down and getting back up and keep trying, getting punched in the face and going back to the table. It's nothing more than that. It's nothing special. But once you do that so many times, you're able to have better probabilities related to the future, versus only speculating in your brain and thinking that holds the same amount of weight as someone who's been in the ring and gotten punched in the face 100 times, right? I know what a right hook looks like. I'm telling you from experience, and I'm taking that into account with the updated circumstances of this situation and the updated circumstances of the people involved. So that is what I wanted to share with you. And I am not always right. And in fact, I'm most often wrong, which is how I learn for the other times that I can be sort of right. But I wanted to share this with you guys today, because if you do have a will to find a way and you believe in what you're doing, it's important, because if you have these other things going on in your mind and you're predicting or you're procrastinating, all they do is they eat away at that will to try stuff, to be creative, to find ways to say yes. And all of you have that in you to be great and to come up with great solutions and to say yes and have all of these values upheld to the best of your ability. So I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to our next vlog, to be determined what it is.